Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Lucky Hank, Episode 5, The Clock. This episode is directed by Jude Wang, written by Richard Russo, and the show is created by Paul Lieberstein and Aaron Selman. In this episode, Hank and Lily host the annual English department dinner. Lily has a decision to make, and Hank's past involving his troubled relationship with his father catches up to him. Before I begin, there is a content warning at the beginning of this episode for self harm and suicide. So please go in knowing that. They're very upfront about it, and so I also wanted to make sure that I mentioned that before I went into my review because I'll be touching on some of those themes. This episode stars Bob Odenkirk as Hank, Muriel Enos as Lily Devereaux, Hank's wife, Cedric Yarbrough, Paul Rourke, who's one of the professors in the English department, Diedrich Vader as Tony Conigla, another professor at the university who's I would call Hank's best friend now, Olivia Scott Welch as Julie Devereaux, who is Hank's and Lily's daughter, Suzanne Cryer as Gracie Dubois. Unfortunately, there is no Meg in this episode, but I know that the storyline that has been set up with Sarah Amini's character of Meg is gonna come and blindside us like all whenever we least expect it. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, this episode was. I think this was the bottle episode for the show. I don't know if it was exactly planned that way, but everything that happens takes place in this at this dinner party. It almost feels, it almost felt like a play of like this is your, here's your stage, and just we're gonna let everyone go. And these actors are so talented that they devoured the assignment. Uh, yeah, I mean, let's start with we'll build up to Hank and Lily because I think they're the main story there. So as we know, Hank has always had problems with his father. He finally broke into the pod and he pulled out this grandfather clock that he moved into his house. It means a lot to him, and we see some flashbacks to him as a kid, where they elaborate on why this clock means so much to him, and that whole runner of him being young really leads up to one of the more tense and more impactful moments of this episode. But I love I love the relationship of all these teachers, that all these professors, their interactions, because I don't think any of them are bad people, but I think they definitely are very career driven, ambitious. They know they're in a tough spot with only so many spots being available. We also have this weird story of like there are two professors that are married, but uh, Diedrich Vader's character Tony, he's invited by Hank last minute, and he starts hitting on one of the professors who's married, but she happens to have an open relationship with her husband. It is a really really funny. I think this is the part that brings the most levity to the episode. We also have this storyline of Paul, who's portrayed by Cedric Yarbrough. He wanted the house that Hank lives in, and he still wants that house. Like he feels that Hank doesn't deserve to live there, which I think we see that a lot in his character, right? All the whenever something good happens, or he has a lot of animosity with some of his colleagues because I feel like he thinks he deserves better, and maybe he does. Like so far we can only see what has been given to us in these few episodes. But we also get to meet his wife, and they have a really lovely story as well throughout this episode. Um, the episode is structured a little bit like a dinner menu, and if you've seen the movie The Menu, it's a very similar framing device where we go through each course, and something happens, and it kind of keeps escalating all the way up to the main entree, and then the conclusion of the episode. So it is beautiful. But yeah, all the supporting characters are really good. And then we have this thread hanging from Lily. She went out to do this interview, and now she's gotten a response, but she also had something happen with her old ex-boyfriend and now maybe possible colleague Tony at the school. And Hank, and she didn't tell Hank right away, which I feel overall is a little bit of a breach of trust, because whenever Hank had an incident with Meg when he took her home, and I guess she kind of hit on him, uh, he told her that night, right? Whereas Lily kind of kept this as a secret. So it's very interesting the way this has been positioned. But also Hank is very stubborn about, Lily now has this great opportunity to go. Probably it almost feels like it's a dream job, just based on everything that not only her but all the other professors are saying about this opportunity. Feels like a dream job, but uh it would mean them leaving to New York. And Hank, for some reason, is fully attached to this town. But then we learn that there's some stuff and some pretty dark stuff behind those feelings. um and they all kind of stem from his father leaving him and his mother when he was young. But yeah, the scene just plays out very well. And of course, you know, you have this issue that keeps bubbling up to the surface as the dinner progresses, and you have guests at this dinner, so like they don't want to fully have an argument. Hank then calls over his daughter and tells, like, kind of fills her in on what's happening, which really backfires on him. It is all just beautifully choreographed. I really, really enjoyed this episode. It was, like I said, the tension just kind of kept building as we went on to the main course. And then I don't want to spoil everything, but like I mentioned, there is some we do learn that uh, one of the characters attempted suicide when they were younger, and you'll kind of figure it out as you watch the episode. But man, that was impactful. And Hank just kind of breaks down in the middle of dinner, and it is Bob Odenkirk. Just, man, top notch performance. I loved it. I loved it. This was a fantastic episode. Um, and then, like I said, we still have all this other stuff waiting in the wind. We have the decision of the college about the professors. We have Meg finding out that Hank was the one that decided to, like, he really derailed her career at this time, right? And he maybe he thinks he's doing it for her good, but that's not the way Meg sees it. So it's going to be really interesting when he has to reckon with all that, as well as his father moving back in with his mom. There's so much happening. But like I said, another great episode. I really loved it. Let me know what you thought about this episode down in the comments. Let me know who your favorite professor is. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.